my name is Brenda Callaghan. I come from Sligo, and I've been teaching dancing since the late 60s, and I'm passionate about sean-nos dancing. I love the rhythm and the revival of it. My parents and my grandparents all danced, so it's kind of in the blood.
And how far back does the sean-nos dancing go? Is there any historical record of the way back?
Well, it has to be the earliest form of movement and dance. I mean, when people had musical instruments, I'm sure they started with rhythm and drumming and bones and bowrons, and once the feet start tapping and the hands tapping, you have to get up and dance. So
yeah, there is a great rhythm to it, isn't it?
I think it's probably the primal form of our dancing.
And are many people learning it now, are there?
Yeah, it's very popular.
Very popular, yeah. I see a lot of them on television now. And these, even the kids are at it, are they?
Loads, yeah, every intergenerational.
Yeah. And Pat Murphy, what's your interest in all this?
I suppose my main interest is the set dancing. I have a bit of an interest in all of it, but the set dancing is the main thing. That's what I grew up with. You
grew up with it, yeah?
In Tipperary. My father played accordion. He played for house dancers in our area, and it was the tail end of it really when I was growing up in the 50s, late 50s, and we used to have the odd bit of a dance in our house still because we had a musician, you know, and sometimes one or two of the neighbours. But
what would trigger a house dance? Would it be an event or just spontaneous?
Oh, to be just, well, to be fairly spontaneous. They'd often play cards and we'd dance a set for home or something like that.
So
if there was a celebration, if there was someone home from England, we'd often have, you know, people would be coming home in the summer, relations, and they'd always have to dance maybe there.
So instead of going to the pub, they'd have it in the house,
Well, they wouldn't go out to the pub either, you know, but they'd come back and they'd continue the celebrations. That was generally the way. But they always liked the old dance, like Mickey was saying there. They do mix the Cayley as well. It wasn't like nowadays where you have a whole night or a whole day of sets. They'd do a bit of Cayley, a few waltzes, and maybe then our set was the Ballycommon set. They called it a plain set, but it was the Ballycommon or the Cashel set. They were the ones we knew in Tipperary.
So there are sets for areas, are there?
They're very much, yeah. Like nowadays they're all over because we travel and we bring them wherever we go. But every area had their own set or their own style of set. They were very different. Mayo would be very different now to what we had.
Can you tell the difference?
Yeah, it should be the way people dance. Like Mayo is more relaxed, more the slide steps a lot, or they'd have that polka, the long polka. Down at home they double tap the polka. They would tap 1, 2, 3 a lot, and they'd be throwing legs all over the place a bit, you know, the Cashel set style. It was,
and what's it like in Sligo?
They had the North Sligo Lancers, which we revived a number of years ago, was danced in Maharal. And there is a South Sligo Lancers as well, and a Tubbacurry Lancers. I think, Pat, you've done all those. When I came to live in Sligo first in 1970, there were very few sets. It was all Cayley dancing, Fear Cayley, and gradually the sets came in and they've more or less replaced the Fear Cayley now in the area.
Yeah, it's happened in lots of places. Even we were talking to Madge O'Grady there today and Connie McKelvey last night. In Donegal now they were very much Fear Cayley all the years, you know, and they wouldn't look at a set. And they have a great tradition of the two-hand dances up there. But in the last 4 or 5 years, the set dancing is catching on and is taking over a bit now. So it's spreading all over Donegal, which is, it's kind of the same thing that happened in the rest of the country in a way.
Are the Walls of Limerick and the Siege of Ennis now these ones we all learned longer? Are they sets or they
were Cayley dances.
They were Cayley. They're different.
They were put together in the 1920s or the 1930s. But in the 1920s, Joe Donovan was telling me one time that the old Cayley dances, a lot of them were wiped out. The Gaelic League because they didn't know whether they were foreign or not, so they dropped them. But a lot of people put these simple Cayley dances together in the 20s.
So that's how we got the Siege of Ennis and the Walls of Limerick and all these other ones.
And it was interesting enough because some of the clergy were involved. Some priests, I think, put the Walls of Limerick. He composed the dance, if you like, And up around County Armagh, a lady called Nan Quinn, the High Court Cap and the Sweets May and these dances, they were composed in that area, and they went around the country from there.
Because the sets were kind of called military names, there was the
They
Mazurka and
were
Lancers and called after regiments.
And it was a foreign dance, like you didn't have anything to do with it in certain times, you know. So they wanted an alternative, so they composed any Cayley that they needed.
So they thought the set was a foreign dance, did they?
Oh yeah, very much.
Well, they were
all the ones we have now, very most of them would have come from France or Italy.
You've done a lot of research in that, but...
Yeah, well, I've done a fair bit now. You know, I had to, because when I started going to America, they started asking me to do a bit of a lecture, or that was part of the program for the week. You know, you'd be in places like Milwaukee and or even at the conventions, you'd be asked to do an hour or two maybe in a presentation of the background. They wanted to know more about them, so I had to go and learn stuff that I had never realised was there. And
well, it certainly opened up a new view of it, didn't it?
Yeah, and you see, we always thought in some of the old dance books like that you get from going back maybe 150 years, they always assumed everything was Irish and we gave it to the world. And that wasn't quite the way it happened, because the dances are international, most of them. The movements we do now, they're danced all over the world. They have different names, different music, but the same movements.
A lot of people wouldn't be aware of that, right? I never heard of that.
They even do them in Japan, they do them in Moscow. I saw set dancing, quadrilles, the very same movements. Our plain set Lancers, they have the same line-up, same thing, but totally different music.
And is there any original Irish Cayley music?
Well, the music is, I mean, the jigs to say are Irish, they reckon they are.
And the reeds Scottish.
Reeds are Scottish, and some people say the reel came from Sweden and crossed over to Scotland.
Yeah.
But I mean, who can say really, you know,
well, I suppose there was movement, there's always movement of people, you know.
There's always movement, and then, you know, they came from the east probably, so you really don't know. Nobody wrote things down in the early days, so just word them out.
Yeah, if you look at the migration of people, that's what they brought
the
the stuff with
interesting
them.
thing, with set dancing was really, the dance masters that were here a couple of 100 years ago, or maybe 300 years ago in some cases, when they got the dances, they didn't get the music, you see, that came with them. So they used their own music, and they didn't know the right steps, so they made their own steps, and they improved the whole thing and made sense out of it, which is great. And that's,
well, it was very good, wasn't it? It's great that it turned out that way,
yeah. That's what they did, that's what the sets came from.
So we're grateful to them.
Absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely.
So you have a lot of nice trips and all that kind of, I hear you have all these nice trips anyway.
They do all the tripping.
They do all the tripping, yeah.
God knows he's never at home.
Guys, do a bit of travelling abroad.
Fair bit, yeah. You were just saying that you were...
Well, I was just saying that Pat now would be sort of going on his own more or less, you know, and when he'd been coming, he's enjoyed several days. I'll come on there with a lecture, Pat, and great to have you, Mrs. and because we'll enjoy to have you. We'll have you for many years if you're available. This man's he's a very busy man. He travels all over the world, you know, and he's been at that for quite a long time. And since I know Pat, gone back quite a while. And
long time.
Is that in relation to music you travel, is it?
No, and,
in relation to music, is it?
Music or dancing?
Music or dancing, sorry, the dancing, yeah. And what do you do? Do you lecture? Do you lecture? Or do you teach? Yeah. And where would you go to?
God, pretty much. We started off by going around Ireland, then we went to England. From there, I suppose, to Europe nearly be next. You know, France, Italy, Germany, Luxembourg, Belgium, Holland, Norway.
Yeah, been to Australia.
Anywhere else.
And who do you teach there? Moscow. Who do you teach there? Locals there or Irish people there?
No, there are very few Irish in most of the places. We've been to Australia, New Zealand, America, Canada, and there's great interest. And there's very few, some Irish, but not so much. Like when you go to places now like Japan or Moscow, there's no Irish there.
And how do they hear about all this?
Oh, there's great stories. Well, the Japanese people come over. We had a lady over from Tokyo for the weekend.
She'll talk to you. I think you interviewed her, did you?
I don't know, I'm going to do it in a while now.
Yeah, and she's very friendly with people that I know. I was over there 5 or 6 years ago, and they come over regularly. They come over the summer.
Hello.
And they bring it all back with them, you know, and they're teaching. They even have Cayley bands over there.
In Japan, yeah.
Yes, they have, and they're very good. They're not just kind of going through the motions. They're excellent musicians and dancers.
And what kind of generates their interest in it? Is it just
I think it's the music really
Music,
gets
yeah.
it going, you know.
music?
And
Gets-
from there, once they see the dance, when the set dancing is kind of infectious anyway, I think
Yeah.
people who see it, they want to get in.
Yeah.
And it's possible, like if you're doing more specialised step dancing, you have to start and build it up. Whereas set dancing, if you can time the music, you can dance.
You can dance. And where have you been to, Mickey? You go to same places, is it?
Well, I have been on, was enjoyed travels at Spain and we have been on several cruises. Was on the Mediterranean, and of course we've been to Portugal and England and no, Pat would have. Well, actually, funny enough, we were on a world tour there, going back 6 years ago, and for 21 days, and we were in Singapore, a couple of nights there, and we went on to Australia, Melbourne, Brisbane. And it met me doomed there, and then it from there on to Sydney, and then I think that journey which I did, I thought was lovely. We spent 2 nights in the Fiji Islands, which was I thought was terrific, like being in another world, you know.
And who were you teaching in the Fiji Islands? Who?
We had
Who turned up there?
on these trips. We had we started 300 people was on this trip.
On the beyond the
We
boat.
have our own group business, like, you
Okay,
know,
yeah.
but, like, you know, and I'd be doing the teaching the dance in that time, and of course we'd have country music, also country western music was also, like, you know. And then of course from there then we went on to Los Angeles and back home. Like, that was a great trip. It was something that I won't forget anyway.
It's a great experience, yeah.
Great
Oh,
experience,
absolutely,
like, you
But
know.
the big difference to me is when I go,
Yeah.
I go on my own
On
most
my
of the
own.
time, and I go to a group wherever people just contact you on the internet, and I go along on the strength of a phone call or an email and turn up and see who's there, you know. And nearly always I'd be teaching people from the area.
So you bring recorded music with you, do you? You play
I
off.
bring an iPod, or
Yeah.
I used to
iPod.
bring mini discs or CDs years ago, but
Mm.
now the iPad is handy.
It's often in the end.
And a few times I brought the box of recording with me as well, you know. Just to bring
But Pat was playing music also. He plays the box accordion, like, you know.
Okay.
So this man is a very musical man, like, you know.
So they got double value for money. They got a musician and a teacher.
I remember in Melbourne, it was great fun over there because I was with the Irish community a lot, you know, and there's a Fitzgerald family, they're Clare lads over there, they're there since the 50s, and they're fantastic musicians, they're as good as anything here. But the week I was in Melbourne, and they knew I played the box, so they had a box laid on for me, and at the Callaghan's, I used to call every second dance, and in between I was playing with the band.
Yeah.
Someone else had called, so it was a week in heaven.
Oh, fantastic,
Melbourne
wasn't it?
was a great spot.
Yeah, it's great to have a talent, isn't it? Get you
It's
places.
great to be part of it, it's great to be involved.
Yeah, but it gets you places,
you
doesn't
wouldn't
it?
think of it as a talent, to be honest. You think it as something just that you love.
Mm.
And, you know, all you need is to like it, I think. You know, if you like it, if your heart is in it, you're there.
You have a huge outing to Spain every year, do you? With a lot of people in it.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, with a lot of people out in Spain, like, you know.
How many people will be on that?
At least we had there about maybe 3 or 4 years before. We used to have 2,500 people on the trip, like, you know. You might first week you'd have maybe 1,500, like, you know. Quite a few, maybe 400 they might go home for the first week, and you'd have maybe 300 or 400 more people might come in for the stick week. As long as with the 1,000 head weights already, like, you know. So they were very big trips. 1,000 for in Ibiza, you know.
And do you spend the whole week dancing and music and?
We start in the morning, we washed up in the morning, like, you know, and that's it for 2 hours, and then you have a break for lunch, and then you would have you might have a kiddie in the afternoon for 2 hours, and then of course a bit of hunting and western, like, you know. At night then you used to have kiddie at that time. We used to have starting at 9 o'clock and 4-hour kiddies that time, but that was really your man, like, you know, and there was change of bands at night and so on. And over the years, for the last few years now, as you know, things haven't been what they were, and then numbers have dropped a bit now, but still
There is a recession.
recession. No, yeah, there is. You can know the recession has taken
Things come in phases a bit too, you know.
but it's good. It's all now well, like, you know. It's great. And see, set dancing is all, but it's fun, and more so the people you meet. You meet the finest of people, like, you know. with set dancing, you never see any trouble or rows or anything. Everybody's there to enjoy
They're
themselves.
very kind of grounded people.
Yeah,
They're
lovely
very
people.
real.
Yeah, really, you know.
Yeah, but they're mature as well, aren't they? They're older.
Yeah, and you know, the great thing about it as well, it's open to all ages,
Yeah.
and it's open to every level of society.
Every level.
It's a place for anybody who wants to be in, and there's no judgment. You just arrive and step in.
Yeah.
So that's what people like about it. It's about people. It's not about how good or how bad or how anything. It's just about the people.
But the people as
Well, you guys certainly seem to enjoy it.
Ah, sure. We do. It's a way of life.
It's a way of life and it keeps you out of doing it.